Spiritual Underground podcast. Once again, this is Dan coming to you not from the wood shop at DTM Enterprises, but from the backyard at our brother Jesse's place at the lake. A few of us come together. He's invited some brothers down in this here towards the beginning of fall and spend some time in fellowship and celebrate one another and help one another grow. So I'm going to start a reading today. We'll introduce ourselves in a minute, and this is kind of the theme of today's. Although we're going to do some stuff out of a big book and do some kind of question and answer, get some people's gut responses on some of the readings out of here, and just get some real spontaneous shares. I'm going to start out because with a particular reading that's always touched me, because I believe that's what we do here. And this thing. This particular paragraph really hits home for me about what we're doing. If you're missing this part of this program, you're missing a big part of it. I like when some people say the spiritual part of the program, and our friend Dawn there, they said, "What's the other part?" Right? It is a spiritual program, and so we'll get started reading this. This is off of page 132. If I can get my flashlight adjusted correctly here, and I still can't. There we go. We have been speaking to you of serious, sometimes tragic things. We have been dealing with alcohol in its worst aspect, but we aren't a glum lot. If newcomers could see no joy or fun in our existence, they wouldn't want it. We absolutely insist on enjoying life. And as a sideline there, some people say there are no rules in AA, but I see that as one of the rules right there. We absolutely insist upon enjoying life. We try not to indulge in the cynicism over the state of the nations, nor do we carry the world's troubles on our shoulders. When we see a man sinking into the mire that is alcoholism, we give him first aid and place what we have at his disposal. For his sake, we do recount and almost relive the horrors of our past. But those of us who have tried to shoulder the entire burden and trouble of others find we are soon overcome by them. So we think cheerfulness and laughter make for usefulness. Outsiders are sometimes shocked when we burst into merriment over a seemingly tragic experience out of the past. But why shouldn't we laugh? We have recovered. And we have been given the power to help others, more importantly. Everybody knows that those in bad health and those who seldom play do not laugh much. So let each family play together separately as much as their circumstances warrant. We are sure God wants us to be happy, joyous, and free. We cannot subscribe to the belief that this life is a vale of tears, though it once was just that for many of us. But it is clear that we made our own misery. God did not do it. Avoid then the deliberate manufacture of misery, but if trouble comes, cheerfully capitalize it as an opportunity to demonstrate His omnipotence. So, that cheerfulness and joy. If people didn't see us having fun, and that's what I've just said a couple times lately, that I've walked into some 12-step meetings where I felt like I walked into a library. When you walk into our home group, you found like you went into a concert. The noise and the chatter of going on in that room is just something that I just label it the sound of recovery. You hear people talking. You hear that chatter. You can hear us down the hall. I tell people when they're looking for our meeting, just come in the door and listen. If it's anywhere like quarter after to 7:30, you'll hear us. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to pull some stuff out of the big book, and we're going to do some spontaneous reading on it. And I'm not going to go in any particular order, but we're going to do some introductions and let you know. I know it's going to be one of the pieces of feedback I've heard from people who listen to the show is when we're doing roundtable things that it's tough to follow multiple people in their voices here. So we're probably just going to do a once around, and this is going to be similar to a meeting. So in some sense, what we're doing here, and we all have agreed at the beginning of this, we've pinky sweared that we were all in agreement and okay to record this meeting. You know, a lot of meetings we'll hear the things say, what's said here stays here, here. We all know that is not happening tonight with the appropriate conditions of what we say tonight and protecting our own anonymity and the anonymity of others at the level that people want to do that. And so we have set some guidelines beforehand on this tonight. So what we are actually doing here is recording a 12-step meeting. So my name is Dan. I'm an alcoholic, but more importantly, what I like to say in our TSSR meetings is I am one too. Whatever you guys are, I'm one too, man. I'm pushing my chips to the middle table and be one of you guys.
Good evening, my name is Vlad, and I am an alcoholic.
Hello, I'm Jesse. I'm an alcoholic and also one of those two.
What's up, fellers? Travis, alcoholic.
I'm Nick, and I'm an alcoholic.
Shane Gibson, alcoholic addict.
Hey, I'm Drew. I'm an alcoholic.
Glad to be here. I'm Charlie. I'm an alcoholic, and I am one too.
And I'm Brian, and I am also one too.
Thank you all. So we'll do one more time. We got Vlad, we got Jesse, we got Travis, we got Nick, we got Shane, Drew, Charlie, and Brian. And there's something specifically important to this, and it's important to me from that level of all these guys have some connection to the same lineage of sponsorship that I do. 4 of the guys here are actual sponsees of mine. 2 others are grand sponsees of mine, which I mean they're sponsees of my sponsees. And one, Shane here, is a sponsee brother. And we're all guided by the author of the 12-Step Spiritual Recovery. So when you hear the things in your life that you got, what we're going to be talking about in these miracles, that's a place where you can get it in case you don't have a traditional ism. These steps are available for everybody. Want these tools in your life? You can have them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blindly turn to a page in here, and I'm going to try to stay inside the first 164, and I'm actually going to do it. Trying to think if I should pick or if I should wait for a volunteer. Has anybody got any thoughts on that? You think I should pick?
We should volunteer, but you should, just read to the person who volunteered instead of people backing away.
Right, yeah, I don't want you to hear the question because I want it to be shared from the heart. And I just set my flashlight someplace to the left of me. Thank you. Vlad keeps on trying to get me to use his headlight, and I'm resisting. I have my own headlight. I didn't bring it here. It's someplace here. All right, so Drew. Liquor. This is from page 5 of Bill's story. Liquor ceased to be a luxury. It became a necessity. Black bathtub gin, 2 bottles a day, and often 3, got to be routine. Sometimes a small deal would net a few $100s, and I would pay my bills at the bars and delicatessens. This went on endlessly, and I began to awaken very early in the morning, shaking violently. A tumbler full of gin, followed by a half dozen bottles of beer, would be required if I were to eat any breakfast. Nevertheless, I still thought I could control the situation, and there were periods of sobriety. What's that bring to your gut right off? Because I can tell it talks to you.
Oh, yeah, it does, absolutely. Again, my name's Drew. I'm an alcoholic.
Drew.
That one definitely hits me right at my core because I was absolutely more of a low-bottom drunk, I guess you could say. That I absolutely was a daily drinker, and there wasn't a minute that went by that I didn't have an alcoholic beverage. Really, it was just a giant Aquafina bottle that was emptied of all the water and just filled with pure vodka. And I would wake up at about, it got to the point where I would wake up at about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, sweats, shakes, and I'd have that bottle right next to my bed because I knew that I was going to have to drink if I wanted to get back to sleep. And then, of course, I'd wake up at about 6 o'clock and have to start that whole entire thing over. And especially really speaks to me about it not being a luxury. I was in a sales position for a little bit over 2 years. And so I was making money from bonuses and things like that to where I got to, unfortunately, because of that money, I was able to keep that habit alive of that daily drinking to where I really didn't have to face those consequences, financial consequences. And so it really just was no longer fun there for the longest time, and it really did just become a necessity for me to actually get through the day. And even when I had enough alcohol, I can remember that I would have dreams of people finding that bottle of what I thought everybody knew was water, but it was vodka. I would have nightmares that I was at a party or like a work event and I lost it somewhere. and that everybody, I would just be feverishly looking for it, and then I was just always living in constant fear of being found out. But so yeah, that one really, really strikes me to my core, to think that I wasn't even living my life at all. It was literally chained to that bottle, and if I didn't have any right then and there, then I was planning on how I can get some, because I never went without. That's what I got for it.
Hey Drew, it brings up a story. I'm gonna hit everybody with this second question, so now it's gonna come out of the hat, but you'll have a chance to think about that one. But we'll tap on it on the end. Makes me think of a story about one time when some people were down at the cabin with my family, and my dad was there, and we had coolers, and we were drinking, openly. It was no big deal, and my dad reached into somebody. He was fishing around for a bottle of water, and he just reached into a cooler and grabbed up a bottle of water, just like any of the ones you see sitting here at the table. And he pulled one of these out, and I happened to be standing over beside him when he was doing it. And he wheeled off the cap of that water, man, and he turned that thing up, man, and chugga, and then he dropped that bottle, and you saw his eyes get big as saucers, man, and he just spewed whatever was left in his mouth out, and he said, "God damn, that ain't water, that's vodka." And the person who had been doing that was morbidly, just flipped the fuck out, right? Because this person was caught just with that same thing you just said about wishing, hoping nobody would know. And hell, I didn't know that I didn't know this person was sitting there. I thought they were sitting there drinking water all day long. So my second part of the question it goes back to this paragraph that I read in the opening about this cheerfulness and this brotherhood and this doing this stuff together like this, speak to that connection that we have on this fellowship and this special bond that specifically we get to enjoy. I know others get it, but ours specifically.
Yeah. I think that our connection is so unique just because, one, I just didn't have it before I met you guys. There were people in my life that I would consider friends, but what we have, you spoke to it earlier. You said that we all have some type of connection, that we're all part of the same lineage. And I love to refer to that as our family tree.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it feels like to me. So, I mean, we really do. We just all have a connection to where, and now we're actually being able to expand that connection to touch other people that are not facing alcoholism or addiction as well, as far as in the traditional sense. But, yeah, I would just honestly just call it pure friendship and love and understanding and acceptance, to where, we can come up to each other or text each other if we ever need to with some serious stuff, or we can just go and jump in the lake and just have fun and laugh together.
Yeah.
It's no holds bars type of friendship.
Yeah, we're sitting here at the very end of September, and we bobbed around the water a little bit today. So I will choose the next guy, because I think that's going to be kind of the way I want to do this for the time being. The next one's going to come to Nick. I almost cheated and turned the page again, but I didn't. Yeah, you want to be about a fist away from that microphone or so. These do a good job of picking up ambient noise, so we don't have to have great. That's one of the things about these microphones, and I know this is a little bit funny on here, but these microphones are great at picking up people who don't have a lot of microphone discipline. If you get some microphones, and Jesse, I think, can attest to that, if you're not right on them, they don't pick you up. You got to be speaking right into them. These do that. The flip side of that is they pick up all this ambience. Like, I'm sure they maybe can hear them crickets chirping and that kind of bugs. But that's also a little bit of ambiance. This is that raw, unsterilized thing we do here at the Spiritual Underground podcast. All right. Well, this is interesting for you. Here are thousands of men and women, worldly indeed. They flatly decry that since they have come to believe in a power greater than themselves, to take a certain attitude towards that power, and to do certain simple things, there's been a revolutionary change in their way of living and thinking. In the face of collapse and despair, in the face of the total failure of their human resources, they found that a new power, peace, happiness, and sense of direction flowed into them. This happened soon after they wholeheartedly met a few simple requirements. Once confused and baffled by the seemingly futility of existence, they show the underlying reasons why they were making heavy going of life. Leaving aside the drink question, they tell of why living was so unsatisfactory. They show how the change came over them. When many hundreds of people are able to say that that the consciousness of the presence of God is today the most important fact of their lives, they presented a powerful reason why one should have faith.
Hey everybody, I'm Nick and I'm an alcoholic. Thanks,
Hey,
Dan.
Nick. And I can come back and touch on anything you want to like redo. So
Well, where I'm at right now is I just did my third step.
yeah.
So this is kind of where I'm at, dealing with what is the consciousness of God. For me, it is listening to my gut, not listening to my head. If I think I shouldn't do it, then I probably shouldn't do it. A lot of it's reaching out to you when I have questions, because I'm a terrible manager. I need a new manager. But a lot of it is just not going with old ideas and exploring new ideas. You know, today we did something really cool I would have never done because I'm not a big person on tight closed spaces.
Yeah.
But I wasn't
You can
afraid
share
to
on
do it
that if
today.
you want.
Well, I wasn't afraid to do it today. We went to a cave and did a meditation, which was one of the most unique experiences of my life, without a doubt.
Yeah, when we were sitting in that dark space, I wondered the same way when we did the little warning here that our voices were going to go outside. This is not a what stays here, what's said here stays here situation. I had a little thought while we're all sitting there in the dark, go, man, I hope somebody is not like, we probably should say, is anybody going to be really freaked out about a tight space? But apparently we all made it. So
If I would have been in there by myself, I think I would have been a little freaked out. But knowing that I had, my brothers around me.
and it wasn't that tight. We had elbow room and stuff, so it wasn't a tight space, but we were definitely back in a dark cavern where we turned off all the lights and it went to that extreme absence of light, which was a complete darkness.
Yeah. And it was one of those things I could feel God in there with us.
Yeah.
The energy, the peace and quiet, the smell of the earth that we talked about. And it was one of the weirdest things. Like I couldn't tell the difference between my eyes open and my eyes shut.
Yeah.
You
have a tendency to want to clamp my eyes shut during any meditation, just because I'm trying to do what I'm doing is shutting off one of my sensory perceptors, and you didn't have to do that in there, that's for sure, because it was turned off.
Yeah, I mean, it was without a doubt. I can't think of too many more unique experiences in my life than what I had today.
And just to further on that, Drew, who you just heard from, led us through a awesome visualization, a guided meditation while we were in there, and that's another bonding experience when our brothers are actually go out on a limb, because there's a lot of vulnerability to do what you did today, to go to put yourself out there like that in front of other people, and I can say for myself that I honor that, I honor that wholly. And also, man, there's nothing better than a person leading you through that, especially somebody you love, some brother loving, guiding you through that.
Yeah, it was a very cool guided meditation. I could see everything that was described the whole time. And like I said, I could visualize where everybody was in the room without actually being able to see you. Just feeling that energy, warmth, love around me. It was pretty cool. And one of those things that I'll never forget.
Yeah, I'm gonna lead you a little bit on another little question thing, and being that I'm the host, I get to do that. So since doing the third step prayer the other day, we did that Tuesday, so that's been 4 or 5 days ago, and then this thing says since we've made that decision, that we've it says they flatly declare that since they have come to believe. And that's our second step, is coming to believe, and then moving into third and kind of making that decision that this is the deal. We're going to give up the reins and allow this, whatever it is, this power. Some of it's my sponsor, some of it's the group, some of it's whatever I can get a hold of on a spiritual, more etherical nature. Can you think of anything have you had any moments this week since then that would made you that would have solidified that third step prayer kind of thing, where you go, yeah, man, that was what I call them is higher power attaboys, and the answer is okay if you say no.
Yes, recognizing my emotions quicker and being able to ask God to guide me in the right path and not be so negative, because that's part of my disease is negativity.
Yeah.
that drives me to drink, that drives me to do drugs. And just not having the fear to reach out to people that are my support. You, Shane, all these people around the table right now. It's just a sense of inner peace that I'm not doing this alone, because I've been trying to do it alone for 20 years.
Yeah, man.
And it sucked.
A lot of comfort in knowing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call it my safety net, and I know it's under there, so I can actually do some like high dive maneuvers, some high rope maneuvers today, knowing I got a safety net underneath me, like getting vulnerable and reaching out to people that I wouldn't maybe necessarily reach out to. And yeah, cool. So I'll put the same question back to you. The fellowship, this brotherhood, speak to that for a minute.
The ability to walk in a room with a bunch of guys and be able to look them in the eye and tell them you love them.
Yeah.
On another level that I've never felt in my entire life. We all, out in the madness, I wear a lot of masks. I try to act like somebody I'm really not, and I'm still trying to figure out who I am. And that's what, part of my wanting to be in this program with you guys is you all guiding me to find out who the heck I really am, because I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've said I love you to more men in the last 54 days than I have in the last 20 years.
And mean it.
And mean it, because I know you got my back, and I hope I got yours.
Cool stuff, man.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Juice. Fucking juice right there.
Cool, man. Thank you. All right. Who am I gonna pick next? I got a little pinwheel on my head. I'm spinning it. A couple of y'all have shared my little OCD thing where I bounce this ball around. I don't have a room in here. That's something I've struggled with in the outdoors. If I'm inside, I build a thing in the ceilings, and I bounce a ball around the room the whole time we're sitting there. So if you see me anywhere indoors, that is happening inside my noggin, and I cannot stop it. Out here, I struggle because I'm trying to figure out how to get it off that tree over there and off of that tree and back around, because I need this continuous loop around here. I just let a lot of people in on some insanity that lives upstairs in my brain. But that pinwheel is also picking people, and it landed on Jesse. So, yeah, I'm going to talk, so I'm going to end up, when you're over here, maybe we'll scoot around and share my microphone. And then, because I want to be able to have some interchange going on. And I need to put a marker in 164 so that I'm not delving back into the stories when I do my stab into the work. I'm trying not to actually hit in the spot that and some of what I'm doing, I'm grabbing up with my underlines. My sponsor 4 years and 10 months ago said, read this chapter and underline everything you can relate to and be prepared to discuss it. Has anybody ever heard that? Yep. So that's what I'm hitting on, is these things I've underlined. It's very interesting. But it is clear that we made our own misery. God didn't do it. Avoid then the deliberate manufacture of misery, but if trouble comes, cheerfully capitalize it as an opportunity to demonstrate His omnipotence. Now about health. A body badly burned by alcohol does not recover overnight, nor do twisted thinking and depression vanish in a twinkling. We are convinced that a spiritual mode of living is the most powerful health restorative. We who have recovered from serious drinking are miracles of mental health, but we have seen remarkable transformations in our bodies. Hardly one of our crowd now shows any mark of dissipation.
Whoa. Jesse Alcoholic.
Jesse.
Amongst other things. That's an interesting one. Not at all what I was expecting. And I guess I deserve that, because I wouldn't be sharing from the heart if it was something that I could just rattle off some bullshit thing that I heard 70 times or said 20 times.
Yeah, I want to back off from it. I feel like I'm pecking on you in a way, but me and you have known each other you and I have known each other longer than any pair here, I think, probably, because I met you early in my recovery.
Yep. That's interesting. So can you read the first part again?
Yeah, it says, but it is clear that we made our own misery. God didn't do it. Yeah. Avoid then the deliberate manufacture of misery, which is one of my favorite things, avoiding that deliberate manufacture of misery, man, because I can certainly fall prey to that a lot.
Yep.
But if trouble comes, cheerfully capitalize on it as an opportunity to demonstrate his omnipotence.
Okay, and the second part really rings true right now about the body badly burned by alcoholism. You know, the first part I could do a whole thing on. The second part really, I think, is what's speaking to me more right now. Obviously, I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't manufacture my own misery. And I also wouldn't be sitting here if God hadn't intervened in my life and through the mechanism of you guys and this group and several people I've met along the way. But this year I turned 40. You know, last year I was in the madness again for the 8th year in a row of trying to be recovered and trying to stay sober, and I can't do it on my own, and I couldn't do it for the last 8 years, but I did have lengths of sobriety. Turning 30 when I was 39 last year, something really dawned on me that mentally it was you've drank and done things in excess since you were before a 10-year-old. You did it in your teens, you did it in your 20s, and you did it in your 30s. Are you going to do it in your 40s? And that was one thing weighing on me spiritually. And then physically, the last 5 years, I really turned a corner where I had to acknowledge my own mortality. And the fact that drinking for 25 years does not go without some punishment to your body, as most of the guys sitting here can attest to, some more than others. But I have come to face in the last year several physical maladies that I have to assume came from my addictions. I had sinus surgery this year from a deviated septum. I have wrist issues from falls. I have digestive issues from poisoning my body for 25 years, heavily. I have joint issues from getting hit by cars and falling, and various other, manufacturings of my own misery, in a sense. And really, this year has been a real awakening on how, how attention to my disease doesn't just take away from my spirituality and from my relationships. It takes away from my personal health. It came before my personal health, which means Drew was sharing last night about a study where they tested mice and put them in a chaotic environment and then moved them away from their natural chaotic environment and scared them, and they ran back to their chaotic environment. And that's just real interesting how the mice would go back to harm themselves. They would avoid food to go back to an environment that harmed themselves. And in my case, I would avoid things that were healthy for me to go back to my harmful environment. And having to call doctors to get weird things, I call them weird things. They're not weird things. It's your wrists, your knees, your colon, your lungs, your nasal passages. Those are all important things that, help you to live. And for so many years I avoided that as if those things didn't exist and as if you didn't need them to live. So, the bodily harm part really is ringing true to me now. And I think that's what I have to say about that. So, I'm 40. I'm not invincible anymore. And, on the flip side of that is that you can go back out and try to pretend like you're 20 again. I don't think that I have that many lives. There's not that many lives left in this cat for that.
Yeah. Well, some of us escape the physical stuff more than others, and others of them, that stuff is wears on you. You're putting you're dumping some poison in you for a long time, and we want to say that it's just, that maybe the two things aren't related, right? That's what I want to say, is that I'm just getting older. But yeah, I know that you've had a lot of physical struggles in here lately, and you're walking through them, and that's our testament to doing this way of engaging and allowing everybody in on the story, so that we're with you. They'll be able to help you, pray you through it, show up in whatever ways we can do that.
I wouldn't do it if I wasn't sober.
Yeah.
I would run from that, and I would hide, in my disease and my drinking. I wouldn't be able to stand up and face anything bordering reality of, a doctor might say this, or this might be your condition, or this issue isn't going away and you're going to have surgery or something like that. I would not be able to handle any kind of reality if I was out in the madness like that.
Yep. And so I think at some level, and this goes into the part B of everybody's question tonight, is this fellowship and the brotherhood. And, I think at some level, in a way, there's some accountability that goes on that says, hey, man, I got to start being accountable to my friends and my brothers on, taking care of me. And so we want to speak a little, go ahead and share a little bit of what your end of things is, and as far as, and Jesse is the host tonight. And just for heck of it, I will say, some people have had their stories told on the Spiritual Underground, some of the people in the circle. So Jesse's is one of them. If you want to tune in and hear a little more in depth about Jesse's story.
Yeah, about our brotherhood. First, I have to say, when I did the podcast, it was February, I think. I was about a month sober.
Yeah, it was real early.
And it's, it was really cool. Things like that are what keep me in this group instead of going back out, because most of the time when you're 1 month sober, nobody asks you to come on a podcast and share your story. They tell you to shut up until you learn something. And I don't think that's right. I think no matter if you have 1 day or 10 days or 1,000 days, you have something to say to somebody who needs to hear it somewhere. But so thank you for that. And about this brotherhood, I think that kind of thing is an exact testament to that. There is no, I've been sober longer than you, therefore I'm better, or I've been hurt worse than you, therefore I'm more scarred, or I've had more sponsees, or I've done more step work than you, therefore I'm more recovered than you. Like these other guys said, we walk into a room and it doesn't matter if I've seen you in 5 minutes, 5 days. I just got back from China, so I haven't seen these guys in 4 weeks. And but we have other ways of staying in contact. We stay in contact really just by our energy. Mm-hmm. We stay in contact by our texts, other social media platforms, phone calls. We hear about each other through each other, so we don't even have to talk directly. I know what people do without me seeing them, and they seeing me. And, I just don't get that anywhere else. Somebody said at the beginning of this retreat, I came here to get more, and I get bored with the other ways of doing things, and that really rang true with me, because I came in and out for 6 years before, maybe 5 years before I found this group. And I came back this time wanting to come back to a way of life that was different than what I was living, and it had very little to do with the pure fact of drinking. It was, I've lived life 2 ways, sober and not sober, and I've lived life 2 ways with a recovery group that kicks ass, and I've lived in a recovery group that was really boring. And I want that kick-ass version. The sobriety's a part of it, but really, if all we did was get sober in this group, we'd be a boring bunch of motherfuckers.
A glum lot.
Yeah, we come and do shit like go into caves and do meditations and meet people we don't know, and go fight health issues we didn't know we had, and we help each other out and we support each other, and amen to that. So,
yeah.
Thanks,
cool,
I'm Jesse.
Man. Thanks, Jesse. I think I have some thoughts all of a sudden, but I'm gonna keep on moving because I want to talk about something and it struck me, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So Brian's gonna be next, but I would like maybe if we could shuffle so he could get on that mic, maybe. MBD. I don't want to, for some reason at the beginning I'm like, why can't you? I'm like, well, you stupid, we just can't move a little bit. And that's stupid is me. That question is to me. So I'm gonna share something, okay? To the people that so Brian is working the TSSR program, and came into that because he doesn't fit the traditional substance chemical burn down that the rest of us do, and how we ended up using, most of us found our bottoms that way. And that's one of the unique things we're getting to do here, is give this thing away to other people. And we walk around here, and like Christopher and I to say that we say this thing about wish everybody had a program, wish everybody had these steps, and it is available, and people like Brian are now actually engaging and jumping in there and doing that, and I think that's super exciting. It's a little bit of selfishness on one side of it, I'll say, is that it's opened up my pool of people I can help, because 12-step work is what keeps me going today, and it is what my primary purpose is today, is to help other people get better, whatever that means, from whatever they're doing. So it opens up that pool, and that's another way to look at it from any kind of sponsorship standpoint, is that it just gets, there's a lot of sick people out there, right? But the fact of the matter is not that awful many of them are willing to do the work at the moment. You got to hit that sweet spot. That's where the trouble is finding a person when they're ready to do this thing. And so today, Brian and I walked down a little while ago, right about sunset, to the lake, and went down on Jesse's boat and did a third step prayer. And that is juice, man. And you can feel the power up here. And it's the first time we obviously have a photograph of us doing that, and that is really cool to me. And we'll share that, because that's a memory to me that that's a life-changing decision. That third step decision is a changing point. That is like standard. That's like I have a little second step thing that says it that in there about we stood at the turning point, right? And that third step is the turning point, man. It is where you're going to decide to either go walk this thing out, and I make a pact with my guy that says, are you going to walk this out, man? Because I'm not going to let you start doing this fourth step and pick these scabs and get all fucking wounded and then bail on me. I need you to look me in the eyes and promise me you're in the boat with me, brother. Now, whether if they stay or they don't stay, that's one thing, But let's make a pact with one another that this is what we're going to do. We're in this together, because I'm giving my energy, right? I am fucking invested in you. I need you to be invested in me too. So we did that tonight. That was cool. So what I'm going to read is something out of the TSSR book, and have you comment on that.
All right.
Want to say hi, Brian?
I'm Brian, and I am one too.
There we go. So this is one of my favorite things that I hit out of this. It's out of the third step part. It's in the conclusion area. It says, the third step is nothing short of a call to arms. It is our personal battle cry to take a committed and mature responsibility to finally unhook ourselves from all the acquired prejudices and extraneous concepts that are choking and blocking us off from ever knowing any new and better God. Third step is a shedding of the old skin, a letting loose of every handicapped, broken tool that these other people promoted and pushed into us. For if their spiritually sick approaches were truly working for us, we wouldn't be here, and they too would be doing much better as well. That just puts chills up me, man, to think about. I love the thought that it's a battle cry, man. A call to arms. I love that kind of language when I'm talking about doing this work. Because that's what it is. This is going after something. This is reaching, stretching, and making a commitment to unhook ourselves from the crap that's, I almost feel like I'm up against like a big sheet of saran wrap, and I'm stretching into it, my face is pulling through it, and I'm just struggling because I'm not getting anywhere, right? And all them old thoughts is that piece of saran wrap. It's got a hold of me, man. And when I hit that, when I make that third step decision, it's like hitting it with a needle or a razor blade, man, and pops open, man, and I can move forward and start gaining some of my freedom. So Brian's pretty new to this process. A lot of us have bounced in and out, right? So like a lot of us here at the table have more time hanging around here than we have clean time and recovery time. Brian is his first time trying to do this thing, and so why don't you share a little bit about that third step decision today and what you've been feeling, maybe anything about that little paragraph I just read.
Yeah, so for me, I was raised Catholic, so the tools that I was given were very boring, quite honestly. There wasn't a whole lot that I found within Catholicism, or really just traditional religion, that I felt would actually help me. And I could pray, and I could scream out and do all these things, and I didn't feel like it was getting me anywhere. And my family really was like, oh, you can pray away your depression and your anxiety, and you can pray your way out of all these situations if you just say the rosary once a day or whatever. And that just never really worked for me, man. I didn't feel anything. And I've gotten to this point, and we kind of talked about this last night, where there's some comfortableness or romanticism about the dark, and I for sure really, really embrace that. And it's hard to kind of pull myself from that point. And I was blessed about 3 years ago with meeting Drew, and just kind of seeing how he was living and how positive he was, man. Even when shit hit the fan, this guy is so fucking positive, and I wanted that, and I didn't know how to get it. And he talked about TSSR and how the book was coming along, and eventually, man, there's gonna be meetings, and I'm like, hey, when, man, let's fucking win. And finally it happened, and I was able to get into it, and I'm like, I found it. This is it for me. Like, this is the solution. And I come to the meetings and everything, and I suck at sharing. But being here with this group of guys and just really feeling like I found a fucking home and a solution that I have been just crying out for. Just really and truly just fucking need it. And I'm here, and I fucking did it, man. And Dan, man, you're just the shit, man. I mean, you've been so good to me, man. And doing the third step today, I just felt it, man. It was just like this calm where it was like, you're fucking doing this. Like, this is it. You're on your way, and there's so many wonderful things that can come from this if you just fucking do the work. And I'm fucking ready to do this work, man. And I love this brotherhood so much. I've never had that.
Because this is really like your first taste of this, right?
Yeah,
this
man.
weekend is really your first taste of this.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
You didn't know many of these guys before showing up here. Me, Drew, Nick.
Yeah, I met Jesse, I think,
TSSR,
once.
yeah, a couple
Shane a couple
Shane,
times.
but, so you met a few of us at TSSR
Yeah.
meetings, yeah. So, but this sustained outside the room environment is
it's fucking raw. It's real, and you feel it. I mean, you feel it when I'm around you guys. I don't feel awkward. I don't feel weird. It's like getting a fucking big ass bear hug, man. I mean, you just get embraced by all the good energy and the love, and there's so much fucking juice. I mean, what's not to love? Why wouldn't you want to do this? And
it's like a warm blanket around us, you know.
absolutely.
And that same thing, I kind of felt that when we were down at the boat doing the third step work, that there was a warm blanket wrapped around us from the love that was here present with us, and what a cool time to be doing that. Something that's been taught to me by my sponsors to make this stuff make all this work important, man. Make it ceremonial. Put some importance and some structure on it so that it means something, because it fucking does mean something.
No, 100% it does. Yeah.
By the way, you don't seem to be having no problem sharing now.
I'll get there. I'm working on it. It helps.
I hear what you mean, though. In the meetings, it's tough, and this is how so like, well, how cool is this? This is the way you get to practice, right?
Yeah.
In a real safe and protected environment, right? And you get a little sharing practice into your belt. And
I was actually thinking about that, because I was like, man, I'm probably going to be a lot more active in the meetings now that I've had like this, and it's, a little more close-knit, and I feel like I'm getting to know you guys, and I don't feel like there's any fucking judgment, I mean, we've all been through shit, so.
Yeah, some confidence will pop out. And
getting there.
Cool, man. That's I'm really excited for you. I really am. I really am really excited for watching you walk and grow and do this deal, and it tickles me too to be like on this ground floor of operating away in a place where we can start offering this to people who are not traditional 12-step
100%,
people.
Yeah.
Even though even though you've struggled with a lot of the same things we have.
Right, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, you get it when we're talking.
Oh,
It's
no,
not like you're
I
sitting
love
over on
drugs.
another
This is
planet and we're
amazing.
talking about dope and alcohol, and you're going, well, I don't get that.
Yeah.
You have a little of that, too. So, that's the thing, is that we bounce around like this. You already kind of answered a little bit of the Part B question about the brotherhood. Do you have anything else more you want to knock around on that? Or?
No, man, I just fucking love you guys. And this is the shit, and everyone should fucking try it.
Yeah, man. Juice. Because I mean, that's it. And you see people transform so quickly. I mean, you get them in here and you get to talking to them and you get them wrapped up and they start becoming part of this program. And you watch people transform out of the gates, because you weren't acting like this. We ain't been working together that long.
You're right.
Been a really short amount of time. Shane thinks he knows what page it is, and it's got me hung up. I'm like, I should just tell him, okay, what page is it, so I'll just read it. Because I'm afraid I won't turn to the right page, right?
That's how we are.
They're all the right pages. I'm secretly hoping you don't.
Me too. Me too.
See if I popped
If
it.
he already knows, that means he's been thinking the whole
You know what I'm
time.
gonna do? I'm gonna hand this to Vlad, and in my little leather piece there is the divider of the first 164 pages. You pick a paragraph in there.
There you
It
go.
don't have to be one I'm underlined. My eyes will go to the stuff I've underlined.
What page is it, Vlad?
84.
Get the fuck
Are you
outta
fucking kidding
here.
me? Fuck yeah. He said it's going to be page 83 or 84.
It's 83, 84, the promises. Are you fucking kidding me?
What the hell?
Fucking goosebumps, dude. I told you.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but he actually. So you said promises, but
Yeah.
what he's pointed out here are actually the 10th step promises, not the 9th.
nice. I don't know the
ones.
10th step promises.
Yes, you
so
do.
I
You
don't
do.
know them as well.
Yes, but you do, and
Yeah.
the love for the promises in your life is certainly something that shows big time. So Shane is up next, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. For by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally. We will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected, and the hair just stood up on my arms again. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition.
Shane Gibson, alcoholic addict.
Shane.
Man, that was fucking juice. So, when I first made a decision to try to come and get recovery or even tell on my disease, was October 3rd, 2016. And that day, I was going to put a gun in my mouth and blow my brains out. And I didn't. One of the reasons I didn't is because I wanted to tell my own story. I didn't want somebody to tell the story of what they thought I was. Because I was living a lie myself. I didn't know who I was. But I wasn't that person, that the addict that I was that day. And the moment I spoke the truth about my disease, it felt so good. It felt like the weight of the world was lifted off me. And I felt this freedom I'd never felt before. And honestly, from that moment forward, I've not had that urge. It was like almost instantly lifted from me. And I thank God for that. I mean, I literally was driving to the brook, and one of my dope dealers called me and said, I got 10 for you. And I said, I don't want them, which surprised me because I was dope sick. I'd been dope sick for 2 days. And I was like, no, I'm doing this thing, you know what I mean? I told him I'm going to rehab. Thanks, but you won't be hearing from me anymore. And I fucking meant it.
Yeah, man.
And I'm coming up on 3 years in just a few days, man. And it doesn't even feel like it. Feels like a whole lifetime ago. And yesterday at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a whole different life that I'm living today. And I can go around people that are drinking or doing drugs or whatever, and it doesn't affect me at all. Like, that's them. That's not me. I don't have to have any part of that. I don't recoil from it from like a hot flame because I don't even reach for it. You know what I mean? It doesn't even, it's not appetizing anymore. You know what I mean? I don't have that hunger for it.
That's that place of neutrality, what he speaks of here.
Yeah, man. And it's a beautiful way of life, man. I finally found what I've been searching for my whole life, which was happiness, you know, and I found it here through the 12 steps, you know, and I've done the 12 steps through the big book, and I've done it through the TSSR. I got more out of the TSSR, and let a lot, I can pretty much say everything go, finally, you know what I mean? Because the first time I did the steps, I didn't let everything go, and I was like, man, I still had this thing just, like, eating at me, you know, and but I did them to the best of my ability at the time.
Yeah, say sometimes
through
we're
my
not
teachers.
able to, you know, I mean, because that's one of the great things about this work too. Really, is that we get to continue to do it. You know,
It's a
the
lifelong
book says continue,
process.
continue. You know, and I frankly wasn't, you know, with Christopher the first time going through with him, I wasn't able to deal with some stuff that I was able to deal with at subsequent trips through the steps. You just wasn't able to do that. Just wasn't able to climb that mountain at the time.
So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Lieutenant Dan.
So he did, you know, hit the page that he thought, you know, and that is some of the stuff because Shane's got some magic in him. It's pretty wild, and it's sometimes hard to believe, you know, but I've been witness to it enough times that I can't deny it, you know. I mean, I want to, but I can't.
It's that intuition, man. It's so strong, and when you are connected and you're in that flow, you feel the flow and you are the flow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I get it, man.
It's a cool freaking feeling, man. And I never had a connection like this before. Now, to speak on my brothers here, you know, it's just like I've never had this kind of bond before with anybody. you know, even new guys I hardly even know. You know, it's just like I get to know them very quickly, and you have that spiritual connection with people. And when they're on the same path as you, and they're wanting the same things as you, you grow quicker. You know, you grow that bond a lot quicker. And I'm glad to be here with my brothers.
We carry a real bright lantern, man, and people see it, and that's what the connection, I think, to me, at least the best way I can describe it is that, you know, people see that even when they're new, you know, and it's infectious, and they, you know, you're one of the guys that people quickly see, you know, that little thing about having what somebody wants. Do you have, you know, and people see what you have, and frankly, you know, hell, I want what you got, you know, and you do, you have something, and this gets to be, you know, this starts getting into some territory that people won't really, you know, that some people want to balk at, and you know, there's a piece of me that wants to, but I'm opened up, my heart and my vision and things have opened up today, but you've got some second sight, some shit that's beyond the normal stuff, and it's just trippy, and frankly, it's a little scary too, you know.
I've been scared of it my whole life.
That you have that, you know, the kind of thing like where you told the dude where his lost car keys were and some other kind of stuff, and how you always seem to be in a place to help people, like in like really physical dangerous,
drowning,
like save fucking people and shit, you know. We joke around about it now, like we went in that cave today and I figured there'd be a lost family in there since Shane was going with us. We were going to be trapped under some rocks back here, and Shane would lift the rocks up off their legs and let them free. And I wouldn't have surprised, you know, I'd have went, yeah. Should have seen that coming.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Love you to death, brother.
I love you. I love you. I love you all. Thank you.
And by the way, man, Shane's story's in there too, so y'all want to listen to his. Not that it's a contest or anything, but Shane's been listened to more than anybody else.
Juice.
Should make you do all of them. Travis, what'd you do? Shoot a basket?
Yeah, he did too.
Good
Charlie
job.
did it first.
Did he?
Yeah.
Cool. That's funny, but I landed on that, brother, so I'm gonna read it, okay?
Give it to me.
Page 69.
Yeah, buddy. Hell yeah.
Then we have the voices who cry for sex and more sex, who bewail the institution of marriage, who think that most of the troubles of the race are traced to sex causes, that they think we do not have enough of it or that it is not the right kind. They see its significance everywhere. One school would allow man no flavor for his fare, and the other would have us all on a straight pepper diet. We want to stay out of this controversy. We do not want to be the arbiter of anyone's sex conduct. We all have sex problems, and this particular line has been in the spurt bucket every single time because I think it's worthy of discussion at any table where we're getting together. We all have sex problems. We'd hardly be human if we didn't. Question is, what can we do about them?
I'm Travis, alcoholic.
Hey, Travis.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, buddy?
You know, I've been married for quite a while, so, you know, like anybody else, I have my sex problems. If I didn't, I wouldn't be human. Kind of, the first thing it made me think of was the delusion, how delusional you are, you know, even in sobriety. Sometimes, you know, when I'm coming home from work late at night, I'll turn the radio off, you know, and just think, just be quiet, you know, just hear the quiet, just for one, 30-minute ride, just be quiet. And my wife is actually in South Florida right now. She just picked up her first year.
Juice.
Yeah, man. I was thinking about going down and surprising her, you know, for her year. And because I know the church she's going to have it at and all that, you know, that she had it at. And then my delusional alcoholic brain says, well, what if she walks in with a guy? You know, well, then what are you going to do? And then I, went a few more miles down the road and said, well, what if she walks in with two guys? Then what are you going to do? And, then in a few more miles, I said, what if she walks in with a group of guys? Then what are you going to do? By the time I got home, she was doing porn.
Yeah.
That's how fucked up my head is. Like, really, like, that's how fucked up I am. Like, I'll take a sex situation or any situation and make it the worst possible case scenario it could possibly be before I'm done thinking about it. But there's these tools that I've been given now that I didn't have before. And my toolkit's not full. It's not, even close. It has a few tools in it now that I can use that I didn't have before. You know, I can pick up a tool or here or there, and I can use those tools to stop those thoughts and that way of thinking, you know, and say, hey, something's not right here. I shouldn't be thinking this. You know, I can use one of my tools in my toolkit and say, okay, let's stop thinking about that. Let's think about the positive things. How about maybe she's chairing meetings and sponsoring girls and has a group of women that care about her, and like maybe she's doing the right thing, not the most possible negative fucking thing you could possibly think of, dumbass.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, this might be an all women's group. You're not even invited.
Yeah. I don't have any fucking idea, but I'm gonna make it all men's group that she's having her fucking year at, you know? Like that's how fucked up my sexual brain is, you know? So you know, I've just been thankful to actually have a few tools now to use to actually be able to squash that shit and put it out, you know. And I didn't have that before. Before I would just say, fuck it, let's get high.
Yeah.
You know, let's use your other solution. You know, drugs and alcohol were always my solution, you know, to put that fire out. And I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that TSSR always taught me, and Christopher always taught me, was like broadening these definitions. And we just talked today with Brian about broadening the definition of the term resentment. You know, when I'm looking at a sex inventory and doing that kind of work, I broaden that too, where I'm looking at like all my relationships at some level, you know.
Right.
Because even, you know, because it helps me make a bigger swath and I can take a bigger bite out of my work by looking at it from a relationship standpoint more so than just, you know, because we also, as men around the table, we know we got that underlying sex thing laying there. But some of that drives my relationships in general, you know, and even like you know, my sexual relationship with an intimate partner can have a bearing on what I'm doing outside of that relationship. You know, I will diss you, my buddy, and because, you know, I want that at home.
Right. I'm going to make myself the best choice in the room, whether you believe it or not. I'm going to convince everybody in that room I am.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, whatever it takes.
Yeah. Well, good answer, man. You've been around a little while. This is the first time on the microphones, though.
Right.
Nick's been in the room during podcasts. Charlie, have you been around when we've been shooting any podcasts? Charlie's getting ready to hit 1 year in just a few days, right? Yeah, and so we did something really cool, and then you can just expect your next really soon too, because I got Vlad in here on his 1 year anniversary, and you ain't gonna, I don't know if we'll land on your day or not.
I'll be in Florida.
But we're going to be pretty close. We'll be within some time on that, I promise you. So you just a little bit of just so some people can get to know you a little bit. I think that's cool to do. Is that you shared you've been struggling you've been playing with this thing for a little bit.
Sure.
And
you know, a wise man, we'll call him Chris Kringle, asked me one time, you know, because I felt like the boy who cried wolf, man. I felt like I was always like, oh, I'm going to do it this time.
Yeah.
This time I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
No, this time I'm really going to do it. Then I go get drunk. Then come back and be like, okay, but this time I'm serious this time.
And every time you were telling the truth.
Right. But, you know, this wise man asked me one time, he's like, so if this is the time you're going to really do it, what was the piece that was missing before? Like, what do you have this time that you didn't have before? Why didn't you do it before? Like, what is it this time that's going to make you be sober forever?
Yeah, what's different?
I spent 8 years in the Marines, and I found that brotherhood, you know, in the Marines. Like, I had people that cared about me that would risk their life for me. And I searched high and low for that when I came into recovery. You know, I looked, even when I got out of the Marines, that whole last 10 years or so, I've been searching for, checking street gangs and motorcycle gangs and trying to find that, you know, find that again, and I couldn't find it. And I found it this time. With these men here, I found that brotherhood again.
Yeah.
You know? I had to search and search and search, and I didn't find that when I came into recovery before. So every time I came in, I was like, yeah, I mean, it's okay, you know? But, like, I see these other guys that are so happy and joyous and free and rainbows and blowjobs, and I'm like, why can't I have that? You know? Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand what I'm missing here. But I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
You know? And when I found it was like, eureka. You know? I don't have to fucking think about extinction of my life.
Right.
Anymore. I don't have to think about dying every day anymore. I don't have to think about losing my family or my everything.
For me, when I landed here, it was a knowing too. You know, it wasn't like a thought that it wasn't real. You know, I mean, it was so knowing, not a thinking. It really was a known thing that I was like, hold on, this is it.
Right.
This is it right here.
Yep.
You know, I still have my Downey Thomas bullshit back there speaking at
Sure.
me, which I don't know if I ever get over that completely, but I really did in my heart knew that I had landed.
Right. You know, I think some people that never had that brotherhood before didn't know what they were looking for, but I knew what I was looking
Yes,
for.
I didn't.
I knew what I was searching for, but I just couldn't find it
Yeah.
until I landed here by God's grace, because there's no other way that I would have been here tonight, you know?
Yeah, man.
There's no other way.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's juice, man. I'm really glad that you found us.
Hell yeah.
That we found you.
Hell yeah.
However it worked.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Yeah, I always wonder about how that. I love that little line, and that's come to me. Whatever that when Marshall was talking about finding those crystals in his backyard, I said, "You didn't find them." He said, "Yes, I did." I said, "They found you."
That's right.
Yeah. So who knows how it works? All told there. Thanks, man. And
No,
so
thank
you
you.
touched on the Blue Brotherhood thing pretty well, sir.
No, that's about it, man.
Cool, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on here and being vulnerable enough to share
Anytime.
and do this thing, man.
Thank you.
Just so you get
Thanks, guys.
get you on here some more too, man, because these stories are real. We want to share this, man. You get to do that. Any mighty mo, any meeny miny mo, any meeny miny mo, any meeny miny mo. I'm gonna go Vlad first.
Don't burn your food there. Wet door.
I'm gonna get somebody else to pick the page. I'm too close to Vlad. I think I'm going to. I'm just trying to find the spot. He seems to want to real bad over there. All right, I just wanted to put the little thumper in here of where the first 164 is on.
All right, Charlie, what you got for me?
If you want to read it, or if you want me to, I don't care. You want to read it? Let's pull that over closer to him. It's got turned around though. And when we're doing that, we kind of want to reach back there and grab him. Cords and make sure they're staying plugged in. This is going to be a little different. What are you doing? Hiding?
Just any passage.
Yeah. I just stab in there, man, almost like pin the tail on a donkey. Except for, my eyes will instantly be drawn to something I underlined usually, but
You underlined pretty much the whole book, though.
I did not.
He did.
So this comes from page 61. What usually happens? The show doesn't come off very well. He begins to think life doesn't treat him right. He decides to exert himself more. He becomes on the next occasion still more demanding or gracious, as the case may be. Still the play does not suit him. Admitting he may be somewhat at fault, he is sure that other people are more to blame. He becomes angry, indignant, self-pitying. What is his basic trouble? Is he not really a self-seeker even when trying to be kind? Is he not a victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if he only manages well? Is it not evident to all the rest of the players that these are the things he wants? And do not his actions make each of them wish to retaliate, snatching all they can get out of the show? Is he not, even in his best moments, a producer of confusion rather than harmony?
It's got one of my favorite lines in the book there is that the victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if he only manages well. I can say that in the first person. I have the delusion that I can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if I only manage well.
All right, that's a good one. Good evening. My name is Vlad, and I'm an alcoholic.
Vlad.
Perfect. Man, and I got to share my story for the first time last week on my 365, which was really cool. And I was actually avoiding it for a long time. Dan has mentioned it multiple times, and I was like recoiling from it like a hot flame. Like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, because I didn't really need to wait for your 1 year. You'd had this spiritual experience and broke through the deal, The 1 year was just really a mile marker kind of thing, You'd had the awakening, man. You've had that months ago.
Yeah, but it really was... I think it was beautiful for me to do it on my 1 year. Cause
me too.
I don't know, it solidified something.
Just wasn't something I needed to wait for.
No. Some maybe I needed to wait for, for myself. Because, and as I shared in my story, I came into the rooms because I was still trying to run my own show. Sobriety was going to be the way I was going to do that. I was going to fix, manage, and control, and manipulate, and convince everybody into exactly what I wanted, and that was just to get a relationship back. And yeah, it's been a hell of a journey overall. And I don't know. It's a daily battle, right? It's a daily battle to, because I don't even know. How to continue with this. Like, it seems like all my life, all I've been doing is fix, manage, and control. And acceptance is the answer to all our problems today, right? That was a passage that I was told to read early on in recovery by someone close. And I read that over and over and over again because things weren't going the way I wanted them to be. And I made myself out to be the victim pretty much on a minute basis. Like, this is all happening to me. I was very much the cynic, the person glass half full, waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, bad things were coming because a couple of good things just happened, so they're inevitable. Like, and I thought there was a romanticism in that when I was drinking. I was like, oh, like, I don't know. It's almost a cultural thing I've noticed too, especially with Russians. It's like very, very gloom. I'm too loud. You need to move that second mic away from me.
He's bleeding into the second mic a little bit.
I don't know. Lots of. It's definitely cultural. Very gloom lot, I think. And alcoholism runs deep through our veins, and the whole thing with like recovery is admitting that we are powerless. Well, with what I've noticed from my culture is you are an alcoholic because you have no willpower. And that's what I've been told over and over. And that's what, my grandparents have told me about my father, that he's an alcoholic because he has no willpower. His willpower is so weak. Absolutely, he is powerless. This is our disease, right? And yet we still try to fix, manage, and control it on every basis, and it's so hard to just let things go. And it's something I struggle with every day, and becoming more conscious about it, I would say.
Yeah.
When I'm angry, irritable, discontent, it's because I'm upset things aren't going my way. I'm not letting life happen on life terms. I'm not letting my higher power guide me, or like, I'm not maybe paying attention to the lesson in the pain I'm going through.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very important. Lessons are important. That's how we learn. That's what we evolve,
And the very fact that you're sitting here being aware of that is what this stuff is about.
Right, absolutely.
At some point, you're oblivious to that kind of thing,
Yeah, back in the madness, I'm just angry, right? I'm going to drink. Like, things aren't going my way.
Jump right back in the cycle.
Right. Now I can almost take a little step back away from it. And it's a lot of these tools, right? And meditation is a big part of it. I touched in my story on like the amount of yoga that I've incorporated, right? And through yoga, breathing, meditation, and all of that. And it's, when you're trying to meditate, for the longest time, I thought is like, I can't have thoughts. I can't have thoughts. As soon as you think I can't have thoughts, you latch onto that thought and you're thinking about how you shouldn't be having that thought. And all these judgments come up against yourself. Well, it's kind of like life and our daily thought process. Like, I'm trying to fix, manage, and controlling, and then I'm upset about something, and now I'm upset over the fact that I'm upset about it, and you spiral down this crazy loophole. And that's how fucked up our thinking is from birth, before we like get really deep into drinking or anything like that. And the wonderful thing is today we're a little bit more conscious, and not great. Like, we fuck up. We're not perfect. Progress, not perfection, on a daily basis. And we can just step outside of that and be like, I am upset right now, and what's going on? And another thing is, like, going through the 4th step, we will list what is affecting, right? Like, this is triggering maybe my fear right now. What is really going on at the bottom of it? I'm afraid. I'm afraid of losing something, or I'm afraid of not getting something that I want. Once again, what I want, what my will is. It's me. It's always me. We talk about
that's the good news the book has to offer, that I am the problem.
Yeah.
I've been told all my life I can't fix nobody else. I can't change other people. So it's a good thing it's me.
Yeah, it is. And the whole higher power comes into mind, right? For the longest time, I thought I was God, and I would run my show, and I wasn't very good at that. I caused nothing but pain for people around me and for myself. No matter how hard I thought I was trying to help everyone around, and I thought I had the best intentions, yet it's usually fear-based and manipulation-based. But today we can step out of it, and I know I am not God, and if I'm just patient and acknowledge what's happening, good things will come, right? And a lesson will be learned. Whether I want to learn this lesson a hard way, over and over and over, until it finally sinks in, or whether I'm patient and I, flow with the current, as a lot of people like to say.
Yeah. Good answer, man. Cool. Glad. Brotherhood, fellowship.
Brotherhood and
What
fellowship.
do these guys say? What do these guys mean to you?
I mean, shit, we're here right now, right? This is so important. I want to put in vacation time from work and not go to work to come to something like this and enjoy fellowship.
Because your weekend doesn't align with the rest of ours for the most part.
No, yeah. So I work at a warehouse situation where I work in back half, and Saturday is my Friday. But what does brotherhood means to me? Like, and today specifically, like, I woke up and I'm going through some shit, and I'm trying to, I wouldn't say fix, manage, and control, but I'm upset and I'm bothered by something that's going on, right? So I don't know. I just found out my ex got a new boyfriend. Why? Because I creeped on her Facebook. Why? Because I don't fucking know. So I'm upset, and people can see that, and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm not okay, and that's okay as well not to be okay. This is bothering me. It's always bothered me, right? It's something that's painful. I know it will get better, and I'm thankful that I got you guys here today. That I'm not by myself, isolating right now, right? Thinking of the next thing. What is gonna get me out of? Do I go get a pack of cigarettes? Do I get a tub of ice cream and eat a tub of ice cream? What do I do? Like, how do I get out of it instead of just sitting with the feeling or being around? And like, first thing I did, I talked to a couple of guys about it. Yeah. I was honest. I didn't hide it. Like, this is what I'm going through, right? And yeah, it's been weighing on me throughout the whole day. And like, the thing is, I don't have to wear a mask around you guys, and you can see it on my face, and that's okay too. And it will get better. It continues to get better on a daily basis, and it's just part of my journey. And there's a lesson to be learned here as well. Maybe stop being fucking nosy. I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Don't bother. It's not your business. Leave it alone. Maybe that's the lesson.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, but that is what brothership means to me.
Yeah, it's like we get close, and it's like I liken it to like everybody's got a thermometer in their mouth, and you can look at the other dude, and you can, like, once we start getting to know each other and stuff, you can look and see what's up with somebody and where they're at. Are you okay? Are you not okay? It's almost like having a readout on you, or with like a tip box. They put them on them shipping containers where you can tell if the container's been tipped over too far. I can look at you and go, damn, you look like you've been tipped over a little bit. What's up? So I'm gonna give the same honor back to you. Thanks, Vlad.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Congratulations on your 365 too, man. You're still real fresh off of that. That's cool, glowing energy. So I'm gonna let you pick for Charlie.
Hells yeah.
And I have that leather's in there at the spot.
Like the last time you asked me to do this?
Yeah.
Just 20 minutes ago?
Exactly like the last time. I didn't know if you'd remember.
I do have a problem remembering things.
And do you want to use my headlamp?
Keep it off
right there, but I just won't use it.
Charlie used my headlamp.
Take my advice, I won't use it.
Yeah, there you go. I like that one. I got to use that more often.
I don't even know. All right. Page 70. I mean, this is the first paragraph I looked at.
That's what we pick.
That's what we pick. All right. If we have been through about our personal inventory, we have written down a lot. We have listed and analyzed our resentments. We have begun to comprehend their futility and their fatality. We have commenced to see their terrible destructiveness. We have begun to learn tolerance, patience, and goodwill towards all men, even our enemies, for we look on them as sick people. We have listed the people we have hurt by our conduct, and we are willing to straighten out the past if we can.
Juice.
My name is Charlie, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
So, I'm just really excited to be here tonight.
First off,
I am a former water bottle carrier, and man, I drove up to Cincinnati this morning and drove back, and then I drove 2 hours here, and I just love this program a lot and what it's done for me, and resentments kill me. I'm gonna steal a Danism here and talk about that trash can that I've been carrying around my whole life, and it just stinks. And you know, every time I get one of these resentments or some feelings that I don't know what to do with, I just stick it down in that trash can and keep walking around with it for the rest of my life. So I'm just hauling around a bunch of junk. And a lot of my resentments actually came out of like abandonment and people that I had parted ways with. Usually it was like a relationship with a female, but there were some men in there too. And a lot of that stemmed from the fact that it made me feel like I wasn't good enough, which is something that, looking back on it now, I've carried my whole life. And I still suffer from that today, but I'm working on it. This feeling that I am not adequate. And you know, when I was younger, and actually the first time I drank, I think that's what I liked so much about the drink, was the fact that when I drank, I didn't have that feeling anymore, and I wasn't worried about what other people thought, because like I knew that I was the shit. Like, here I am, I've got my mojo juice now.
yeah,
you know,
some level people will say, there's another little parallel. People will say, like, you know, the promises happened.
Yeah.
You know, I intuitively knew how to handle things that I didn't know how to handle before, you know?
Boom. Yeah, you know, and it's like I had the solution until I didn't, until the solution stopped working. And so then for the better part of 20 years, you know, I chased that solution that worked, you know, one time, and then didn't work, and then created a whole new slew of problems. And so what was the question?
Well, the question is just what we're doing, reading out of the big book and talking about sharing your experience and what you touch on, man. But if whatever comes out of your mouth is what you're supposed to say in the beginning before we ever started. I prayed that whatever we needed to say today was what we said, and that's really that's the answer to the question.
Exactly. So I've bounced in and out of recovery for really the better part of a decade, and I never worked any steps. You know, I said I did, but I never really did, now having worked the steps. And to me, it was like looking in the mirror, you know, and I like doing it though, because after I did that third step, when we made that pact that we were going to do this work, I really got excited about it, because, you know, for almost 35 years, I had no idea who Charlie was. I had no idea what made Charlie tick, or none of that. I mean, it was just a body with no direction. And so we do this work, and I kind of start to gain a sense for it. And like one of the things that these steps have given me is that I find out some of what my passions are, you know, like what inspires me. And that's why being around the guys in this program is so important, because I get that. Like, we get the juice from each other. Somebody says something and I'm like, wow, holy shit, that just hit home right there. And I may have heard it 10 times before, and it's just, I'm at a different spot every day. So like, I hear these things, and I talked about that first drink. I was looking for that feeling, and I found it. I found it here in this program, you know, in the 12-step recovery. And a big part of that for me too, and why I think it didn't stick before, was there's this saying, and it's like the opposite of addiction is community. And I wasn't planting the roots, you know, like I never dug into anything before. I would always half-heartedly do something. But building that connection with the people sitting at this table right now, with the other people in the rooms, with the guys in the recovery house that I had, like investing time and energy with other human beings, it keeps me plugged in, and it helps me grow, and it gives me more juice. Like, I just started actually working with a sponsee about a month and a half ago, and that's been a whole new thing for me, you know.
Yeah,
So, truth be told, I didn't really want to sponsor him. You know, like, I knew that's what I needed to do, because I made that pact with my sponsor that once we did these steps, I would give it away. And the guy was persistent, you know. I want you to sponsor. Well, we're doing it, and now we're going through it, man. And it's like I'm working the steps all over again, you know. It keeps me plugged into the book. And it really has kind of lit my fire. I was worried that I would get stagnant, because that's what I've done all my life with everything. Like, I get passionate about something for a month or two. We were talking about wakeboarding or water skiing or surfing earlier today, and it's like, oh yeah, I was all about it until I wasn't. But the fact that I get to continue to pay this thing forward is just awesome, and I love it. I love the connection with other people. I love the fellowship. I love the energy, man. It drives me. It's given me a new purpose in life. And that's another thing that I never had. I never felt like I had purpose in life. But today I feel like I have purpose and direction.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, that you know, I dropped that line the other night, and I listened to that Kent C a couple more times since then, and I realized how much I steal from him. Of that, it's not a program of some get it, some don't. It's a program of some do and some don't. And he also has a thing in there where he talks about sponsorship. And he says, you know, maybe 20% of what I can get out of this, what's available to me out of this program, is from coming in and connecting and working the steps. And he said the other 80% that I really get the juice is from helping somebody else get this thing, and that's sponsorship, giving it away. My life is full because of that. Recovery brought me to yoga. I didn't know anything, wouldn't have never done yoga. There's no way in the world you'd have caught me dead on a mat. Recovery brought me to yoga, and yoga brought Charlie to recovery. And we intersected there in a studio in Louisville, and I think that's just a real cool thing, how that higher power makes things happen like that. You touched a little on the fellowship and the brotherhood. Do you have any more go on that, or you want where you at? Because some of y'all are starting to get the gist of it, and you start wrapping your, you know that question is coming, and you're going ahead and incorporating it in your what you're sharing. You talked about the community aspect.
Yeah, the community aspect. Well, and Dan just said, you know, that yoga actually brought me to recovery. So, like, the yoga has been a big key thing for me in my recovery too. Just developing that community in there, because it's funny, I see people that don't identify with the ism. You know, but I see a lot of people in there too that are suffering, that are trying to heal from something. And so, like, the yoga aspect in the yoga community, it was really important to me because, like, you'll hear us talk in the rooms a lot about the mind, body, and spirit. And a lot of times there's not a whole lot of bodying going on.
That's what I say too. Yeah.
And I mean that. And, you know, I sit here and say that as I got a vape right in front of me. But just being honest. But for me, developing that physical connection with my body, you know, the first time they told me to just breathe, it was like it was a profound statement. I'd never even thought about my breath. It was just something that I took for granted. And so being able to link breath with movement and the mind, it actually creates a spiritual experience for me.
Yeah.
And to see other guys in this room like exploring those opportunities, it means a lot to me, and actually it drives me some too, you know, like in recovery now. It's amazing what open-mindedness has given me, new perspective, and willing to try new things. And I'm really enjoying it, man. You know, I try not to put expectations on anything, but I know that I can always count on the guys in this room. And it's funny, when it comes to something like yoga or meditation or just something really far out there, everybody in this room is pretty much down to try that with me, you know, if it can help us grow closer to our higher power and build a stronger connection within our community. And so I just really enjoy that aspect of it as well.
Awesome, man. Cool stuff. So, everybody's... Thanks, Charlie. Yeah.
Dan, may I intervene?
I guess so.
Well, I got a big book in front of me, and I figured I'd flip a page for you.
You sons of bitches.
Bang. Got him. Got him. Sitting here lakeside at Jesse's place.
Got him.
I'm going to flip through this little book we have here. It's actually called a big book.
I always try to get out of this. I figure as a host, I don't have to do this.
All right.
Bullshit.
Page 41. As soon as I regained my ability to think, I went carefully over the evening in Washington. Not only had I been off guard, I had made a fight whatever against that first drink. This time I had not thought of the consequences at all. I had commenced to drink as carelessly as though the cocktails were ginger ale. I now remembered what my alcoholic friends had told me, how they prophesized, I'm pretty good at that if I had an alcoholic mind, the time and place would come I would drink again. They had said that though I had raised a defense, it would again one day give me before some trivial reason for having a drink. Well, just that did happen, and more for what I had learned of alcoholism did not occur to me at all. I knew from that moment that I had an alcoholic mind. I saw that willpower and self-knowledge would not help in those strange mental blank spots. I had never been able to understand people who said that problem had them hopelessly defeated. I knew then it was a crushing blow. What you got to say about that?
Well, I really quickly relate to what we say here is we share from our own experience, right?
Yep.
And what was it? I think Bill also used someplace in there that was beginning of my last debauch. A very similar situation that I can relate to that with was the beginning of my last debauch. Was that, and I think I actually was telling Travis about it last night in 2013 I had given away a marriage. I would like to say that I lost it, you know, but I didn't. I flat gave it away by continuing to use and do that. And the fact of the matter was, I had had a year of recovery with this lady, with this gal, the mother of my children, and she saw what happened when I did that. Now I didn't get what I got today, but I still had lights on more. And then I went back, and when that happened, she was not going to take another one of those. That was not going to happen. And someday we all draw the last straw, you know. And she did that, and my divorce was final like in March the 5th, and I was on an airplane to go to Thailand on March the 8th, and I was like someplace in the neighborhood of 90 days sober, and I stayed sober exactly 4 days in Thailand, and for no reason whatsoever other than, you know, and I can't really, you know, I was determined to maintain my sobriety over there, but I put myself in a position where there's no way I could have won. I was sitting with guys 3 days in a row after work drinking and watching them drink and watching them get their moods elevated and have all that happen. And there was no fucking way I was going to survive that, you know. And I had no mental defense, no defense whatsoever against telling those guys, turn that cup over, put some ice in it, and pour me a beer. And man, it was 100 mile an hour from right there, 0 to 60. I was doing some really crazy stuff too. You know, I was like, I didn't take another taxi cab in Thailand the whole time. I was on the back of them scooters, man. And if you're like in Bangkok, on the back of a scooter is dangerous. It was fun. But so when that part of Bill's story, you know, some of those things some of those things I have more to eat, I more easily relate to than other ones. You know, and I said that when I leave and go home, I won't do, you know, I will stop, right? I'll put it away. When I get on the airplane, I'll stop. I won't take it home with me. And I got on an airplane. My work was very generous. They flew us in business class, which is essentially first class. And that lady walks up to you the minute you get on the plane and says, "Mr. Reeves, would you like something to drink?" Yes, I would.
Of course you would.
Gin and tonic, please, maybe 2. And I said, well, you know, this is a 30-hour flight. You know, I mean, how do you not drink? That's insane.
How do you not drink on a 30-hour flight?
Yeah.
So I did that, but I said once I get off that plane, I'll turn that off. And my dad, and you know, I'm freshly divorced. My kids saw what had happened. You saw the pain in their eyes, and I get off of that airplane, and I knew I had it sounds a little bit crazy to me that this actually happened, but I knew I had a prescription of Lortabs waiting for me that I never filled. That was just sitting there. And there's another way of knowing I really wasn't going to stay sober, because otherwise I'd have done something about that, right?
Yep.
I wouldn't have left that laying over there.
Mm-hmm.
But as I'm getting off the plane, that's where my head is. Not on getting home with my kids after 3 weeks, not seeing them, not the damage that I'd caused. My thought was get in my phone, get that order switched over to the local 24-hour pharmacy, and pick it and tell my dad that I had run out of blood pressure medicine. First thing we need to do is get by the pharmacy on the way home. You know, and so many times in my life was that same kind of thing. Not unlike that day that, you know, I broke in that house, and in the very next morning, after causing all that misery the night before, and watching the tears of my girlfriend and my mom and my dad, and causing everything I did, I woke up the next morning and went out in the backyard and got the damn pills out of the rock where I hit them the night before. It's just, I mean, we talk about powerlessness, you know,
Insanity.
Insanity, and you know, what else is that, right? That you do that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what that story reminds me of. So I'll go ahead and into part B, right? This fellowship, and I think you all know how much that means to me, and I'm gonna, you know, I feel a little arrogant sharing at this level, because I really do, and again, I always want to preference that this is not me. This really is not me. This is higher power working in me as a result of doing these steps and putting these principles into my life, having an awesome fellowship, and frankly, the world's best sponsor. And I'll say to you that, you know, if you don't think I have the world's best sponsor, if you don't think you do too, keep looking, because he's out there for you. And I'm not saying mine is him, it's yours. Yours is someplace. And so I've been handed these gifts, you know, and all of them really have been related into growing the community around me, right? You know, having the opportunity to have those retreats and have these guys, you know, I still can't gather my head, and I have a visual of it. I actually have a panoramic photograph of it, of 32 men sitting around a campfire at my place in the country just this May. And I get to look around that, man, and people from days sober, from inside like 30 days sober,
Yep.
to 35 years sober, sitting around a campfire. We're sitting here doing this. I got in my pocket tools of connection to these group me's of my buddies that I am in a daily contact with them. You know, I took on this lead of doing this communication director thing, whatever the fuck that is, that I do this thing where I got everybody's sobriety dates. I keep the home group list. I know who all you fuckers are, where your names are, where you live at, what your emails are. I send you out birthday requests, and that's what, and you know, this is the thing. It used to be a little bit of a secret, but when it's your birthday, on your birthday sobriety date, and you all know this, Higher Power told me to do this. He gave me an idea, a way to participate in my own recovery, and that's another Kent Cease line that I stole right from him, and Happy's the one that I remember. I give Happy credit for delivering that line to me about you must participate in your recovery, because one night really late at a Dairy Queen in Corden, Indiana, when I'm screwing around, he wagged his finger in my face and said, "Dan, fact of the matter is you must participate in your own recovery." And you know, and I just flatly wasn't doing that. I was just wanting to hang out and have it happen, right? And so Higher Power gave me these ways to participate in my recovery, and one of them is that thing where, you know, once your birthday, I keep track of it, man. I send everybody I know a text to tell you that it's your birthday. Because that's what we do here, man. Pour love on each other and support each other. And I found myself in these roles. And again, I don't want to take credit for it because it's not me, but it happens. And then, so to the end, just come full circle, that is how important you guys are to me. That I am going to go like 4 fucking miles left and right in order to keep a fucking rope around us so that we stay together. I'm going to do every fucking thing in my power. I don't let people fucking walk off. I see Shane do the same thing, man. Somebody comes in our meeting and they can't fucking sit, and you see them leave, man. One of us are getting up and going and following his ass and trying to talk him back in. We don't have a lot of success with that, but I'm fucking trying. You know, and when people come in and they need their hand, they're looking for a sponsor or they're looking for that kind of stuff, I'm putting my fucking name in the hat. I don't know if you've got higher power wants me sponsoring you or working with you or not, but I'm putting my fucking name in the hat. Right before that line, it says, our book is only meant to be suggestive. It says he will help you create the fellowship you crave. And that's what I craved. That's what I crave today. Is your all's friendship, your fellowship. I've shared this before, man. At some real base level, all I want to be is just don't leave me to be the last kid standing on the side getting picked for the kickball team. Some real base level. That's all I want. I don't have to be picked first, man. Don't leave me standing there on the fucking sidelines. And the same thing goes. I'm not leaving anybody else standing over on the sidelines either. I ain't going to do it on my watch. That's all I got.
Juice. Thanks, Dan. Now back to Dan.
I love doing this. This is another way, man. This podcast is another way I get to participate in my recovery. It's completely unique. I mean, I don't know anybody else that gets to do this. And these guys are the ones give me the power and the thought and the juice to be able to do it, because I couldn't do it without y'all, right? Y'all my biggest support. Y'all come sit with me and do it with me, right? This like your game to do this. Because we carry this message to other people, and I know in every one of your hearts that's what we want to do, right? Carry this message. So, let's say like a 60-second, let's go around and do a speed round concluder. To conclude this up, whatever your message you want to say tonight, blast this, and I think what I'm going to do it in alphabetical order. You know who's first?
I mean, it's a B, so I'm going to assume.
You want me to slide over here?
Yeah, I'll do this. That's all right.
Watch that. It's about 60 seconds. We're not going to do a timer. Just try to stay tight.
All right. Hello again. It is Brian, and I am one too.
Brian.
I just want to say that this has been a hell of a unique fucking experience being out here doing this podcast and listening to everybody's stories and everything, and it just kind of really reinforces that I am in the right fucking place at the right fucking time, exactly where my higher power wants me to fucking be, man. And I'm juiced up, and this whole experience has just been fantastic, and I just want to thank Dan for allowing us to take part in this, like I said, super unique experience, and that's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian. Charlie. That's hot. You can spin the microphone too, just turn it around. There you go.
Charlie, alcoholic.
Hey, Charlie.
It's just been an awesome night. I feel honored and privileged to be here among my brothers, and very fortunate. I love the line, and I heard it for the first time maybe like a week or two ago, and this is kind of how I feel today, and that is, it's not about fitting AA into your life, it's about fitting your life into AA.
Yeah.
And that's really all I need to say, because that's what I've tried to do this time around, and it just seems to make sense now.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Glad to be here.
Thanks, Charlie.
I think alphabetically I'm next, but I'll go last because I'll close the thing out.
Hello, everybody. This is Drew again.
Hey, Drew.
Hey. This has been an awesome weekend. It's been fantastic spending time with my tribe, my brothers, a lot of guys that I've known for a number of years and gone through the same program with, and a lot of people that I care about that have become part of the tribe, and a couple guys that I just met this weekend that I had some really good times with. So I'm just really thankful for this family reunion that we got going on, and just feeling really blessed to be here. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, Drew.
Jesse alcoholic. We just broke shit. It's okay.
I'll be your microphone holder.
We're gonna keep going. I just want to say basically one thing, which is thanks to all you guys for being here. You know how I know we're hardcore is one guy took off work to come here. One guy drove to Cincinnati 2 hours, then 2 hours back, then drove another hour and a half to get here. 3 guys that I don't know all that well came to my house without knowing me because I asked them to. And you know, my other brothers that are here came as well, and they're probably the ones really trying to get me to, you know, encourage me to do this for the last 3 years when I said I was going to at the beginning, and I couldn't stay sober, and I had that same feeling of why would these people come to my house? You know, I'm not worthy of that. My place isn't as good as Dan's. It's not as big. It's not as cool. I'm not Dan, and we're all sitting here, and Dan is sitting right here with me. You know, one of my biggest supporters, and I have his and all you guys as well. So I just want to say thanks for being here. We're going to go have a fucking bonfire. We're going to turn this mic off, and it might even get juicier because, you know, we do have to hold back a little bit on here, but we don't have to hold back after this. So I love you guys.
I am Nick, and I am an alcoholic. Hey, Nick. I am just so grateful to have this experience of getting away with a guy's weekend. Brothers that have shown me nothing but love and support when I was at my lowest, and I will never forget this. Thank you for inviting me. Thank all of you. I don't really know anything else to say except that I'm just overcome with love and joy. So
Awesome, man.
love you guys, and that's all I got.
You're welcome, Nick.
Shane Gibson, alcoholic addict. Yeah, I got a lot of gratitude too, and I'm grateful that Jesse got sober. Because if you wouldn't have got sober, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? I've seen you come in and out, and this time when you came back in, man, I saw something different about you, dude. And I see you shining, and I fucking love it. And I'm grateful that you're here, man. And I'm grateful that you invited us. Thank you. And let me be part of this, you know, since I'm not technically part of the lineage, you know what I'm saying? But
Well, you are.
Yeah. And it just feels really good to be sitting with my brothers, man, and to get to know guys I don't know too well yet, you know, and I already feel like I know you, you know, like I've known you for a long time, and it's fucking juicy as fuck. Yeah, man, just super, super grateful to be here, and thanks for everybody being here and helping me stay sober, because you all help me every day, whether you know it or not, and I love y'all. Thanks.
Thanks, Shane.
Travis, alcoholic. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for letting me share and for awesome, juicy meeting.
Yeah, man.
Jesse, thanks for inviting me down, man. Appreciate it. And thanks to all my brothers from another mother here. Love you guys. I just kept thinking one thing when we're all sitting here. I was just thinking God's everything or God's nothing, you know. And that's pretty much what it's at. I mean, my God doesn't care what language I use. He doesn't care if I say fuck. He doesn't care if I am in a church praying to him, or if I'm sitting on my bed, or if I'm on my knees, or what clothes I'm wearing, or where I'm at, or he doesn't give a fuck about any of that, you know. And I'm just real grateful to be here. Thanks, guys.
Juice, man. Cool. Let's swing that around. I want this.
All right, my name is Logan, and I am an alcoholic. One thing to wrap it all up, something I heard earlier this year that someone said to me: be gentle with yourself. Like, we are our own worst critics. You know, our thoughts are just our thoughts. They don't make us the people that we are, or, you know, we don't have to take action on them. Just like with meditation, when those arise, acknowledge them for what they are and let them pass without clinging on to them and riding it down this spiral. And I love you guys. Thank you, Jesse, for letting us be here, for sure. It's been awesome.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So we will do that real quick, just real. Let's just thank Jesse this away. Because it is cool, you know, to open up your place and to do this thing, man. And that's another vulnerability thing, you know, to go. You know, it's tough to do. I know it from my own experience. It's hard to do. It's to do that. You know, you feel so, you know, there's so those feelings of less than stuff like that. Is it going to be okay? Is it going to be all right? How are they going to judge me? Is the food going to be okay? Are we all going to be all right? They going to be able to sleep okay? Bugs, toilet paper, you know, water temperature, you know, fucking everything, and all that don't really matter, because when we're together it wouldn't make a damn bit of difference what was going on. You know, we'd be having every bit as good a time no matter what was going on, right? But thank you, brother, for doing this. This is super cool. Had a couple thoughts there and they all left me, so I will close this thing. Oh, I know one thing I was going to say about the lineage question, because Christopher would be here, and to be honest, and he would have, but there are a couple professional relationship things going on, because he really does pass this stuff down, and he knew that it is more important for these guys to be here in attendance than him, and so really that would be where the headman point of the lineage would be. So you are part of it. It's and I mean, you're Sponsee brothers, man. I mean, we got the same, we're working out the same toolbox, right? We share the fucking toolbox. So I had to do these little things here too, so I'm going to say dtmww.net. That's my little handyman woodworking thing, man. That helps pay the bills here, and so it goes both directions. That book, 12-Step Spiritual Recovery, it's got these tools in it. We're talking about this, delivering this 12-step solution, these 12-step principles and tools to anybody who wants them. Alongside of that is a deeper dive and a... you know, I look back on a little meme I made the other day that said the great compendium, the magnum opus version of the 12 steps. So if you're not getting what you know, if something seems to be missing out of your current 12-step program, this will offer you more, a deeper dive into that work. Music around here is by, wrapped around this thing is by Darren Frank, and actually Jesse has a big piece of that music too in here. I'm kind of landed on that Let Go and Fly as being the theme song for this. I like the song, the title, and I've just landed. I was kind of playing, you know, just grabbing Darren's music and putting it in here, and lately I've kind of landed on that song. Who plays the harmonica in that?
That's my pops.
Yeah, that's Jesse's dad, and he's also sober. He plays the harmonica in that music, so that's even super cool. You know, I mean, it's just really cool that has that rounded version. That's another reason why I think that's part of the reason why that particular song touches me is as far as like the Spiritual Underground podcast theme song. I think I've landed on the song. So I'll close with the same things I usually say, man. If you ain't having fun in your recovery, if you're not having a blast in recovery, it's your own goddamn fault. Thank y'all for allowing me to participate in my recovery in this manner tonight. Peace out.
Tried to be just who they wanted. Always tried to do everything they said. Only did the things they would approve of. Locked away all your dreams inside your head. Year after year you try to be a good girl. They never failed to point out when you were bad. Stuck to the program like a robot. Became a trophy for mom and dad. But inside you want more. Everything you've been waiting for. Looking for that open door. So every day in your head, in your heart since you was a little boy. They told you, suck it up and be a man. It's time to put away your baby toys. Make your mom have a plan.